What's up, guys? This is Jesse DeRozier with Hydrilla Gorilla Guide Service here in Lake Guntersville. Today's date is October 31st, 2025, and this is what's on the deck. So this week we did see some major drop in water temperatures. The water temp for several weeks had been holding around that 70-degree mark, and yes, we were catching fish, but not to the extent of what we've been able to catch in the last couple of weeks. As the water temperatures continue to drop, the bite gets better and better. Last week we saw the temps come down to about 67, and that little bit dropping below 70 degrees actually spurred the fish on to go ahead and start the fall feed. So last week was absolutely phenomenal. This week we had 2 days of rain, 2 days of very heavily cloudy, just dreary, nasty days, severe winds, cooler temperatures during the day for the highs, as well as colder temps at night. All of that paired with today's temps only being a high of 50, I think it was 59 for the high today. But again, severe cold last night. So even though we had a sunny day, the water temps still continued to stay low just because the highs were so low as well. Now that has brought our water temps down to this morning when I launched, there were 62 degrees. So even our high today wasn't as high as what the water column was showing, so it's going to continue to push the water temps down. And that's a good thing. As we continue to see these temps drop all the way down until they hit about 52 degrees, we're going to see that fall feed really going on, and we're going to continue to see larger fish coming up into the shallows as we get colder and colder temps. Now, this week what we did is we had basically two setups. We had setup for searching and finding fish, and we had setups for once we've kind of gotten fish located and there we find, say, an active school and they start blowing up or going crazy, or we just know that that's where they're at, those specific baits. So let's go ahead and get started on what we did, or what lures we used this week on the side of our searching baits. My favorite search bait on Lake Guntersville, I don't care if it's wintertime, summertime, spring or fall, doesn't matter. It's a 12-month-a-year deal, and that is going to be a chatterbait. Something you've got to have on your deck all year round out here. What we did this week with this one is I was throwing a half-ounce green shad, and the reason why I chose the green shad this week was due to those cloudy, overcast skies. I wanted something that had a little bit of pop and color that would help to draw those fish to that bait. The reason why is because we had some silt in the water from the rain, as well as the winds that we had this week stirred the silt up out on the main river, and that water was definitely had a little bit more color to it, so I wanted a bait that would pull these fish to it. Now anytime I'm throwing a chatterbait, there is a couple modifications that I'm going to make. First and foremost is I don't care for the bait keeper. The bait keeper to me is too large. It has two metal prongs that stick out and they're both a little too large for what they should be. They tear the plastics up when you push your bait on. What I do is I take a pair of angle cutters and I'm going to snip those down in half. They're probably around 3/16 of an inch, so I'm going to snip it down to just under an eighth of an inch, or say an eighth of an inch. That's going to allow for you to have plenty of grab on that soft plastic, but not tear your plastic up when putting it on. The second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Avid Anglers Fishing Solutions glue, put a drop on there, and I start out putting that drop of glue actually further up on those metal wires. The reason why I put it there, I'll put it on both sides of the wires so that when I feed that plastic on, it's going to push that glue forward across the lead so that the lead now is coated, as well as it's going to push some of that up around the very front of the soft plastic so that when you push it up, it's going to grab also at the base of that skirt. So there's three areas that it's holding. Once you put that on there, that thing's not going anywhere. The only way that that trailer is going to get tore up is two ways. One, if a fish comes up and literally grabs on the back side of the bait and just pulls it off. The second way, to me, is what I see is usually they'll get torn right here along the edge of the hook. The reason that happens is because of overfighting a fish. If you set the hook on a fish, and if you feel like you didn't get a great hook set, obviously reel up and drill it home one more time. But once you've set the hook on that fish, one of the biggest things that I can recommend to people when fighting a larger class fish is going to be, don't overfight your fish. And what I mean by that is, the harder you continue to pull on that fish and you're bringing it to the boat really hot, she's going to come off a lot of times. The reason why is, one, it's going to be jumping. Two, you're taking a chance of ripping a larger hole in their mouth. And three, the harder you pull against a large fish, the harder it pulls. If you just set the hook and then just keep nice, steady pressure, keep your rod bent, keep it loaded, keep pressure on your line, but let that fish fight out away from the boat. And even if it comes up to the boat, let it swim around the boat a couple of times. When that fish is ready, she'll let you know. She'll literally come up to the surface and lay over on her side. You can reach down and lip her. Or if you got a dip net, dip her up. But if you stop trying to horse your fish to the boat, you'll cut down on how many soft plastic trailers you're going through, as well as how many big fish you're losing. So just a little piece of advice as far as landing some of those bigger fish. The next thing, or next lure, is a Producer Swimbait Swiminator. It's a 3.5 inch bait. It's one I use every single fall, and the color is called Blue Minnow. This is my go-to. This is my 4-wheel drive. This is something I can run through the thickest of grass. I can throw it through stumps, laydowns, it doesn't matter. This thing's coming through clean. It's text-posed on the hook, so it's not going to grab anything. That thing is completely weedless. I'm pairing it on the Owner Flashy Swimmer. It's a 5/0 hook with a 1/4 ounce weight. Now, another modification that I'm making is, if you notice that CPS spring right there in the nose, that spring is not the one that comes on it. It comes with a medium. That is a large. Take that medium off and replace it. If you will take the time, as well as, a pack of 10 of those, like $3.99. Replace every single one of those that you throw on a swim bait. I don't care if it's a 10-inch swim bait down to a 3-inch swim bait. Replace it with that large CPS spring. If you do that, you will make sure that those baits last way longer. I can throw this swim bait until literally that hook has completely ripped a trough through the center of that bait, where it just won't hold on there no more. It will not pull off the head of that CPS spring. I've been using those for about 6 years now, and I have never one time had one of those baits ever completely pull free from that CPS spring. Never had one tear off, anything. So it's an amazing modification that will save you a lot of money. That's one of the things I try to do, guys, is really help people with trying to make this as least expensive as possible. The next bait that I'm doing is another underspin. It is the Dirty Jigs. If you look at the nose of that bait, you can see I'm running this thing down in the hard bottom. But it's the Dirty Jigs Guppy Head underspin. It's 3/8 of an ounce, and I pair it with a smaller profile swim bait. And the reason why I do that is because I want it to go down, stay down on the bottom. I don't want it lifting. I want this thing literally rutting down in the bottom and staying there. The other one is the one that I'm running mid-water column, the Producer Swimbaits. If I'm wanting to get down to fish that I'm seeing on my live scope that are down on hard bottom, the Dirty Jigs Jig Head is the one that I'm going to pick up. Otherwise, I'm going to be going with the Producer. The next two baits are both in the same classification. They're both going to be jig head minnows. But, again, depending on kind of like the water column or water clarity. This week with the stained water, I picked up the Citron from True Bass, paired on a 3/16 ounce guppy head. And again, notice the lead is beat up, getting it down around them shells and rocks, because a lot of those fish with the cloudy skies were positioned low to the bottom of the lake. The next one I pair with a Ducket Sway Head, and that is the Producer Swimbait's new bait called the Cheetah. Now the Cheetah pairs perfectly with that Ducket Sway Head. You can see how it really nestles right up into the head of that bait, which allows for me to be able to get an excellent drop of glue on there. And once it's on there, it's not coming off. This one I was throwing in a lot cleaner water, so if I was off of the main river, getting in the clean water, I'd pick up one that was a little bit more translucent or more shad colored. The other one, obviously, I've been this week around a lot of stained water, so I've been definitely focused on the Citron. Has been really, really good this week. The Producer Swimbaits, it is a 4 1/4 inch long bait. It comes with wings on it, so it hovers really, really well if you're wanting kind of that hovering action. Or if you want more of the rocking action, you can literally take a pair of scissors and snip it off, and it'll be more along the lines of the Crush City freeloader. So you can get either action out of it that you want. That's one thing that I really do like about that, is its versatility. The next set of baits, as I've mentioned, are going to be ones that once I've really kind of dialed in on where my fish are, bait lures that I can throw to get those topwater blow-ups. The first one is going to be the big shower blows. Now this one I'm trying to use around areas where I'm going to be seeing those 6-inch gizzard shad. The shower blows in bone, because again of the cloudy skies, I like a solid painted body anytime I'm around overcast skies or low light conditions. Now the shower blows is back weighted. It's a lot of the weight is right here in this big bulb at the end of the bait, which allows for it to be thrown in windy conditions. It will absolutely throw a country mile. It doesn't wobble when you throw it, and when it walks, stays in place and does not go very far. It just continues to walk side to side without covering a lot of distance. So it will stay in a school of fish a lot longer than a traditional bait or walking bait. The next bait is going the exact opposite. It is going a lot smaller, and that is the Excalibur Spitting Image. This bait is only 2 7/8 inches. Now they make another one, it's a little bigger, it's 3 1/4. I believe you can still find these on YouTube, or not YouTube, I'm sorry, eBay, sorry about that. I think there's some people that still have them on Amazon, and I believe some of the tackle shops have a newer version of this. Not the same paint schemes, those are the older ones, so those are old school baits, but I believe there's some newer ones that are out that have a little bit different tweak on the paint colors. The next bait is the Berkeley Credge. This one too is also tail weighted, so it falls like a rock backwards, but it throws really, really well in the wind. You can throw it a long ways. Couple modifications that I did to this one is, if you notice, the hooks are a little bit larger. All right. As we've gotten later into the fall and we've gotten to larger class fish, those little light wire hooks are super sharp. Berkeley did a great job pairing those with some dynamite hooks, but as you get into a larger class fish, they get bent out really, really easy. So I did upgrade my hooks to a lot stouter hook. The other thing that I did to try to get a little bit more action out of the bait is I added a split ring. Now I'm still kind of experimenting with that to see if I can get more sway out of the bait once it's up on the surface. It's hard to really see how much action this bait has when it's a long ways from the boat, and as it gets close to the boat, it starts to lose some of that, so it's kind of hard to tell. It's one of those I'm going to have to kind of let the fish tell me, you know, is it better with or without the split ring. So I'll get back to you on that one. Just a modification that I'm trying. The next bait is always going to be on my deck, is going to be some form of a lipless. Again, this week going with painted sides due to the cloudy overcast conditions. But again, a bait that I can throw a long ways. Guys, it's so vitally important that you not run up on fish that are schooling. I know it's, everybody wants to get there. But over the years, that's one thing that I have learned is, if you go in there hot, what happens? You spook those shad, and those shad go down, the bass go with them, and then that schooling action's done. So take your time. If you're gonna run up fairly hot, excuse me, run up to where you can get one of these baits that you can launch a really long way, at that point, cut it off high. Glide in as far as you can, turn your trolling motor down, and then just ease in the rest of the way. Because at that point, you're already making a retrieve. So there's no point to continue on getting there any closer with it still being on high. So again, just a little food for thought. My last bait this week was a jerkbait. Now, today we had sunny conditions, and I keep about 4 different jerkbaits tied up in my boat at any time. I'll keep one that's translucent, one that's flashy, one that's complete painted sides, different sizes, different sounds. This one is a silent bait. I prefer the silent. If I had to choose this time of year, I want something as natural as possible, I'm going silent. Which means no weight transfer system. So throws like crap, especially in the wind. So I'm pairing it on a little 6/6 rod, medium action, or putting it on an open face. But the benefits of that bait are, 1, that it's silent. 2, it's an old school bait, so it's something they've not seen in a long time. 3 is the fact that when it cuts hard, side to side. And again, it doesn't move very far forward, just like the shower blows. I want it to stay in that strike zone as long as possible. And that bait gets it done. It just continues to work side to side, comes forward very, very slowly, and you can continue to keep it in front of those fish. That's basically it, guys. Again, if you're not utilizing any scent right now, highly, highly recommend you pick up some Thump Gel. Add it to your baits. It will make a difference on how many fish you're catching. This week, again, didn't matter. I'm throwing orange on my Swimbaits. It's a color that obviously doesn't pair with the Swimbaits. They didn't care. The scent meant more to them than that little bit of orange hue that was on those Swimbaits or Chatterbaits. So absolutely make sure that you're adding some scent to your bait. They've got so much natural forage in and around them right now that it's hard to get them to commit to your bait. So put everything in your advantage when it comes to trying to get these fish, to actually commit to your bait. And putting some scent on your bait right now, this time of year, will help get that done. That's pretty much it for this week, guys. I hope this information helps you out this week while you're out on the water. Hope to see you out there, and until next week, tight lines.